The Agrarian Reform put its foundation at the end of the First World War, when it were assigned lands to veterans of war. These lands were subtracted from the landowners. Later, with the advent of fascism, were released works to restore these lands inhospitable to agriculture. These lands remained landowner, promoting the development of black market. This leads to an enrichment of poorer classes that allows them to be able to buy these territories. On the basis, it begs the birth of the Reformation, which had as its objective the restoration and enrichment of the rural settlements. This entity developed a series of works that included the expropriation of land, cleaning up, and the transformation. The reform followed different settlement patterns characterized by the spread on territory of houses arranged along the roads. These models are attributable to the following: centralized creation of a rural residential village with some essential public service; scattered, isolated houses built in the agricultural land allocated to a single family. We analyze the case of a rural building site in Gravina in Puglia. This building is presented on the floor with a plan to rectangular format of 2 bedrooms, a park and a living room or kitchen. The house was leaning against a barn for livestock from work, horses or mules, related during the night to iron rings through the roof. The barn was characterized by a scolina for the elimination of animal waste, with a slope towards a hole in the wall that led outside and a manger for feeding. In addition to the building, there were a chicken coop, a pigsty, an oven, and a sink. Because of the various standards set by community rules, it's clear the difference between the types of buildings from the past and those of today. For example, from the point of view of sanitation, on the type of bath current is constituted by a double service and magnitudes higher than those used in the past. In fact, after the war, the toilets were common in a village. Over time, how to design the toilet have improved, making every house a space dedicated to its realization, following certain building types. In terms of accessory equipment and comfort highlights the lack of a dock outside perimeter and outdoor areas used for dining and free activities. By contrast, appearance benefited from them, unlike today, where the land contains a set of structures that are not compatible with the environment in aesthetic terms. The buildings were made without major excavation and shallow foundation. The walls were made of locally available materials, blocks of tufa and concrete. The floors were made of wood with roofs, tabelloni and posts. The houses presented with the sagging wooden beams and iron yards that supported them. The park was formed by axe roof for access and was characterized by the presence of water containers in glass blocks, relieved. The chicken coop, the pigsty and the oven were constructed using only tufa and mortar. We applied on the roof of tillers that flowed rainwater gutters in concrete. Compared to the past, today we give much importance to comfort. For example, the installation of a crawl space under the flooring to prevent the capillary rise of water, brightness, temperature, and exposure, the thermal coefficient of the perimeter walls to the floors. As regards the material used, becomes much attention to the armature to prevent the cracks, the use of newly developed materials such as concrete or special ways to avoid the phenomenon of tension. In the past, the foundations were superficial, so there were a high risk of collapse of the building due to a lack of stress resistance. But today, these stresses are discharged on the parent rock through the creation of various models that differ according to the type of soil and the weight that rests on it. The study of difference in types of construction of the buildings of the Reformation is a knowledge base for understanding the methods and technologies used in this period and its territorial context. We wanted to raise awareness of the recovery of these structures were useful in past, which have laid the foundation for the construction of the current building techniques.